What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new edition of the Chris 2 Cents podcast, where I am a writer, Chris Stevens, who discusses his 2 cents with common sense. Welcome back to the podcast. Greatly appreciate you all for listening and watching. As always, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can follow me on all manners of social media below. Be sure to tap the notification bell and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribing already. But if you are, make sure you like and comment on these videos so we can foster a discussion so the algorithm can pop. More eyes and ears can be on the channel. But if you're listening on Spreaker, and I would prefer you listen on Spreaker because I get paid by Spreaker, go ahead and subscribe there and download the episodes and add them to your bookmarks so you can go back and listen to them. So this podcast can continue to grow on its upward trajectory. And I greatly appreciate y'all again for tuning in. So last night was the Grammys. We're not going to waste too much time with the formalities, but how about it, huh? A very, 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 very fun evening. I'm surprised because I went for a walk around 4 or 5 o'clock yesterday, put 4 miles down, like I was rolling, and came back, took a shower, and I said, man, I am tired. I'm sleepy. I don't know if I'm gonna make it through the Grammys. I made it through the whole 4 hours. Like, wow, I actually stayed up for something late, because when you get to be my age, I mean, I'm in my early 40s, and it's starting to become the time now where bedtime gets to be a little earlier. Even though I do work from home, so it's not like I have to really hump it in the morning to get up and, log into work or anything like that. But I was like, man, I don't know if I'm making it through this whole show. I made it through the whole show, and I'm glad I did, because that Grammy Awards ceremony last night was fantastic. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do with respect to the wildfires in the Los Angeles area. Shouts out to everybody who's, trying to rebuild all the important communities in LA, like Altadena and different places where there's a melting pot, because California is one big melting pot anyway in the Los Angeles area anyway. So big ups to those folks. They're going to come back better because, of course, LA is one of the best places to be. I've never visited California. I really want to one of these days, but that, of course, would entail me flying, and we know that flying now is kind of like a dangerous endeavor. But anyway, so they did what they had to do, giving honor to the firemen. The fire people, they let them announce the album of the year. We'll get more into that in a minute. And I learned a lot about the state of the music industry. And what it looks like to me is there's sort of a cycle. I mean, we're getting back to people who actually perform, who actually know what they're doing on stage, who actually give shows, who actually have a little bit of charisma, and not just being trolls and not just being crazy all the time. So it's a wonderful thing. I did find out about Sabrina Carpenter. I didn't even know Sabrina Carpenter was from the area. I mean, when she mentioned Bala Cynwyd in her acceptance speech for Song of the Year. Well, no, it wasn't Song of the Year. I think it was Pop, Performance of the Year, one of those awards. And I was like, wow, and then I went and did a Google search. She's from Quakertown, so she's from north of Philadelphia, but Philly will claim you if you are successful. So Philadelphia's own Sabrina Carpenter. I went and, just cursory, quick little, listen to that album. And that album is pretty much about a young woman trying to hit her toes to throw up gang signs. One foot throwing up slime, the other one throwing up cuz. And I mean, that's cool. I mean, we talk about, sexual revolution, sexual agency, consent, and all of that stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with women writing about sex. I mean, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But, finding out that Sabrina Carpenter's kind of local adjacent, it's pretty cool. I found out about Chappelle Roan as well, and her Grammy speech I thought was pretty cool when she, started holding, the industry accountable for making sure that artists have a living wage. But there's a backstory to this. There's a history to this. Never forget, Tina Marie, the late great Tina Marie, when she was on Motown and wasn't putting out albums, she wasn't getting paid enough to feed herself. So when she left Motown in 82, 83-ish, Motown tried to sue to keep her. But once the courts uncovered that she wasn't getting paid just enough in her contract when she wasn't recording or performing or touring, they started this thing called the Brockert Initiative, because Tina Marie's given name was Mary Christine Brockert. So the Brockert Initiative states that you have to pay at least the artist that's some line signed to your label at least $9,000 a year. Of course, this 1982, 83. So that is that inflation and everything else is probably should have anyway made that higher. But yeah, Chappelle Roan called out the industry saying, labels, we got y'all, but do y'all got us? And it's like, ooh, okay. So I mean, there's still some activism left. There's still some social justice left out there in the world. Chappelle Roan, and I think I'm finding out that she's one of those kids that is leaning into their queerness. It's pretty cool because I mean, after all, Lady Gaga really started kind of touched that off with Born This Way, and then she started, and she seems like she's going back to making Born This Way records. As I said, she's like the LeBron meme with the with LeBron with his mustache with the cigarette hanging out his mouth, even though we know he doesn't smoke in a do-rag. It's chap grown, apple bone, don't matter. Lady Gaga's still here. So, and Gaga had a pretty good showing with Bruno Mars for the song Die or whatever. I can't remember the title off the rip, but yeah. So funny. Hilarious. You would even call it crazy, spooky, scary, hilarious. Award show goes to Kendrick Lamar, who won 5. Let me do the Kobe. 5 Grammys for Not Like Us. Oh, Drake, you're done, buddy. You're cooked. Your goose is cooked. I mean, you're done out here. Oh man, I did not know that the entire crypto arena was going to start singing that line. It's so I think even funnier than that was when Diana Ross was up there for record of the year, and she said, "Huh? Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar." I howled, y'all. I hollered. Like, how do you win 5 Grammys for calling a dude a culture vulture, a colonizer, a pedophile, a dude who doesn't live his raps, who might be hiding children? Unbelievable. And Kendrick, he left the awards ceremony with 4 words that will probably serve as a eulogy for Mr. Graham. Respect the art form. That's it. Because Drake literally does not respect rap as a whole. You can tell by the way he just moves around from sound to sound, from region to region. He trying to collect them shits like Infinity Stones, and it just didn't work out for him because he met his match at Kendrick Lamar. He could not. I mean, yeah, he could bite off the South. I mean, he could bite off Atlanta. He could bite off of New Orleans. He could bite off of Memphis. He tried to bite off of Philly, and I'm really disappointed how people just kind of crapped on Meek. But he couldn't bite off of LA, no matter how hard he tried. He could bite off of Houston, but LA recognizes real, and Drake wasn't real. Kendrick Lamar was. And now you have everybody. I mean, you had Beyonce dancing, you had Taylor Swift grooving, you got old ass people in there singing A minor. Oh boy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't know what else Drake can do at this point. I mean, other than pivot to being a right winger and continuing down his anti-woman path, because I mean, it's clear that Drake is still spiraling out after Rihanna dubbed him or dabbed him, as it were. He has not recovered from that. He simply has not recovered from that. And it's funny to think about it because this is a dude who became famous largely because women loved him. Women loved Drake because he wasn't bang bang shoot him up. He wasn't, oh, I'm a F this B and all of that. I mean, he was just, I mean, yeah, he was a little soft, but women liked the romanticism of it. Then when he started, shedding that skin, there's an old saying. It's a saying that my mom said that her best friend's grandmother used to say, all new brooms sweep clean. Now, what that means is when you get a new broom and, you sweep, cleans up all the dust, cleans up all the specks, the crumbs and all of that. But as that broom gets to be a little older, A little more flecks of dust, a little more specks of crumbs, a little bit more starts to get left behind. And the reality is, Drake is in the old broom stage of his life. The dust, the crumbs, the hairs of who he really is has been exposed. And he can't handle it. That's why he's suing to have a record that has been streamed countless times, that has won 5 Grammys. He's suing to have that, to stop that from being played at the Super Bowl. Because imagine 80,000 people in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, 130 million watching around the world. Get to that part. Trolling like a bitch. Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord. Kendrick drops the mic, and all them people in the Superdome say, and it's probably a minor. Oh boy. Drake. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But hey, you live. These are the consequences, man. You decided to poke the bear, and the bear is absolutely ripping you to shreds. And it doesn't look like the bear is going to slow up, because Kendrick Lamar wore what is called a Canadian tuxedo to the Grammys, which is everything, all jean, everything. So, I mean, the symbolism, I mean, why would you even try to go against a Pulitzer Prize winner? I mean, Kendrick Lamar is thought of as one of the greatest writers and artists of the day, which means that he can play with similes, he can play with metaphors, he can do all of these things that the great writers do. And he's done them. He's absolutely done that. So I don't know what Drake was thinking trying to poke this particular bear. He was better off just insulting Meek. He was better off just, taking pot shots at the women who rejected him. Because never forget, this dude made a rap about Megan Thee Stallion getting shot in the foot, and Megan absolutely tore him to shreds on Hiss. The line about niggas talking about, BBLs and had the same scars, posted up in another nigga's neighborhood like that. Megan was cooking with those lines, boy. She was chefing. And Kendrick, I mean, I'm not gonna say Kendrick followed behind Megan, because I mean, the beef with Drake and Kendrick has been simmering, for a minute. But I think Megan touched it off in a way that Kendrick was like, all right, he's coming out, he's coming after our women. I mean, he mentioned, you better not say nothing about Serena. Like, Kendrick's like, all right, man, I'm tired of this dude just disrespecting the women, disrespecting the culture. It's time to put an end to this. And boy, has he put an end to it. Lord have mercy. You got oh boy. But yeah, overall, the Grammys was a really nice show. Not too much. I mean, honestly, the only complaint I have is, why did they let The Weeknd come back? And I mean, I like some of his music, but when you think of how great the performances were, how great Sabrina Carpenter's performance was, how good Chappell Roan's performances was, Khruangbin performed. God, I love Khruangbin. If you don't listen to Khruangbin, you are missing out on some vibey music. Like, they play this brand of like bluegrass, folk, rock, jazz. I don't know what Beyonce said genre is limiting to kind of put us in our places. And we'll talk more about Mrs. Carter in a minute, because she had the best night of them all. I mean, Kendrick had a phenomenal night, but Mrs. Carter had the best night of them all. But yeah, I don't know what you call Khruangbin, but their music absolutely resonates with me. Like, I mean, I just catch a vibe whenever I listen to them. The great Crystal West of the podcast, what's the name of that? The Read. How could I forget The Read? Crystal says that Khruangbin makes great music for you to get high to. I don't get high, but I love to chill. And Khruangbin is just like very vibe, and I love their vibe. And so it was interesting that they were nominated for New Artist of the Year, because I've been listening to Khruangbin since 2017. And here we are in 2025, and they're getting a new artist a nod. Of course, Chappell won that, which is fine, because I mean, every generation of music fan and person needs kind of like a superhero. And for these new kids who are watching their rights as human beings being rolled back, feels like Chappell Roan does that for them. I mean, because she's obviously very, she's very gay, and there's nothing wrong with being very gay. I mean, I feel bad for these kids now, because so many of not just the old ass people have sold them down the river, but but their young peers who are being malleable to these old ass people have sold them down the river. Like, trans rights have been rolled back. Like, bam. Like this dude signed an executive order saying we're only recognizing men and women. Who are you to make that call? And I feel like Chappelle Roan, is giving those kids an outlet, kind of like Gaga did so many years ago. So I learned about Chappelle Roan. I learned about Sabrina Carpenter, so many others. It was a great award show because these people are talented. And granted, as Naima Cochran, the wonderful, music industry vet and professor noted, that was a room full of their peers. It wasn't the fans. It wasn't like fans, that showed up to the Grammys. These are singers, songwriters, producers, performers, industry vets, professionals, all of that. And people were on their feet the entire night for their peers. So that's how you know you're talented, when you command respect in a room full of your peers. So this was a show of shows. And there were very few. Like I said, the only miss probably was The Weeknd. Like, I'm sorry, man. When you have a vibe that good in there, you don't need this dude. And I like some of his music, but you don't need a dude who's in there droning about cocaine addiction and different things of that nature. And, how he's, terrible to women and terrible to people and all of that stuff. And it's like, okay, we just had a great award show about a young woman, celebrating her queerness, and another young woman celebrated for the pursuit of good sex. And Kendrick Lamar just put an end to Drake, but here comes The Weeknd. But I guess that's a win for I guess that's a loss for Drake too, because Drake lost The Weeknd. Obviously we all know how that is panned out. Drake said Abel wasn't about it, and Abel said, "Oh, we're gonna show you we bout it." So that in itself is comical. But yes, last but certainly not least, it's been a very long time. I know a lot of folks may not remember the fact that Susan Lucci, who played Erica Kane on All My Children, had 18, 19 best soap opera actress nominations in a row and didn't win one. And Shamar Moore made that famous line, "The streak is over, Susan Lucci," and everybody goes nuts. And it was nice to have the LA Fire Department announce that. And the assistant fire chief, she just clutched her chest, and she misspoke. She said Carter, and she was like, "Cowboy Carter Beyonce for album of the year." Finally, the best active performer doing this thing. She might be the living GOAT. Finally gets her album of the year. And granted, it was for a genre that a lot of people don't associate with Beyonce. You can tell that the keyboard racists are already, they've already given themselves carpal tunnel. Oh, she's not country. She's a Negro. Everything you people enjoy. Music, culture, food, transportation, life, all of it. Black people have had a hand in it. And that includes country music. So I ain't trying to hear it, man. I am not trying to hear it. So if you guys think that this was, if you racists out there think that Beyonce didn't deserve that award, you're crazy. She deserved it for Renaissance, honestly. Renaissance is my favorite album she's ever done because it's a dance record. And as a student of disco and house music and all of that stuff and dance music, I loved everything about that album because she not only tapped into so many different, dance movements, but she gave life to the people who, Chappelle Roan is fighting for right now. I just said that person's name so many different times. It's Chappell Roan, damn it. Come on, Chris, get it together. It's Chappell Roan. But yeah, what Chappell Roan is fighting for now, Beyonce sort of sowed those seeds with Renaissance. And Renaissance absolutely deserved album of the year. Not saying I'm not a real big fan of Cowboy Carter. I'm going to be full disclosure. I'm not a country music person, but I get why Beyonce was doing it, and it worked for her. The tour has been announced, and people are going to absolutely show up in cowboy boots, chaps, hats, vests. Some people, I can guarantee you, some people are absolutely riding horses to the show Make no mistake about it. Somebody somewhere in Texas, somebody somewhere in Vegas, somebody somewhere in DC is absolutely trying to figure out how they can rent a horse or even a horse and a carriage, an old wagon, so they can pull up the cowboy car like, giddy up, yeah. Guarantee you that's how many people are planning for this tour, man. Kind of like how people, all dressed up in their glittery disco ball best for the Renaissance tour. I did a Renaissance tour recap on this channel earlier, on my channel earlier. You guys can go back and check that out whenever you get a moment. But yes, I don't think Beyonce ever needed confirmation that she's one of the greatest to ever do it, but having that album of the year in the tug definitely helps. She's done this as a member of a group. She's done it solo for over 20 years, actually, because Dangerously in Love was 2003. What is time anymore? She's done this at a high level her entire career. And nobody can deny her artistic brilliance, her gift for collaboration, her pipes, her dancing ability, her charisma. She has it all. She is the pop star of the day. I don't know if she's the pop star of all time because, for crying out loud, Michael Jackson was the king of pop. We never going to have another Michael Jackson. We're not going to have another Michael Jackson. We're going to have another Prince. We're not going to have another Madonna. We're not going to have another Stevie Wonder. But Beyonce is as close to that territory as anybody else right now. And yes, I'm including Taylor Swift in that. And yes, Taylor Swift is widely popular. But Beyonce, people like, just the name has people just like, oh, Beyonce. That's the effect she has. And she's worked hard to build up her legacy. And she deserved this moment. And yeah, I get that. And, it's not the album that we would have wanted her to win it for. But the fact of the matter is she won it. And that means that people can stop talking about, how great she is or how, talk about how great she is and then just talk about how awesome she is. She's won more Grammys than anybody else. She has about as much nominations as anybody else. She has an album of the year now. Beyonce is Beyonce, man. You can't beat what she's done with anything. You can't compete where you can't compare. And bottom line, she is the best and deserves every single petal of flower that she gets. I ain't gonna be able to make it to Cowboy Carter tour though, because there's no Philly date. I ain't going to DC for a show. I ain't going to Jersey for a show. I'm just too damn lazy at this point in my life. If it ain't a Wells Fargo or the Link or the Dell, I know a lot of people like to travel for shows. That would be cool. If I wasn't afraid to fly or if I, like driving long distances, I could do it. But, y'all enjoy that Cowboy Carter tour. I may change my mind. Especially now that I'm starting to get my form back, starting to get my weight back down to a manageable level. I'm not super heavy, but once I get back down to like 230, 240, I'm absolutely going to be out here just ass naked. Well, not completely, but y'all are going to know that, I missed showing off the first time I was super fly. I ain't missing this next opportunity on any level. I'm shooting my shots. I'm going for what I want. Life's too short. But yes, the point is Beyonce earned this. There's no denying that she's the best of the bunch right now. Anybody who tries to counter that fact is just living in a world of delusion. There's nobody better right now. And there may not be anybody better in the near future. So let's enjoy Beyonce while we have her, because her kids are getting older. She's getting older, and she probably wants to sit down at some point. I imagine after Act 3, she's done. She's going to watch her kids grow up. She might, lean into, the artist development side because, she's done things. She's given careers to songwriters and other singers and folks like that. So she might lean into being an industry professional. But I think Beyonce as a performer's time is limited, and it's fine because she's done this more than half of her life. And she's given us so much. So enjoy the Cowboy Carter tour. Let's enjoy whatever Act 3 is going to be. And if she tours behind that, turn it out, because I feel like that's going to be the last we're going to see of her on the stage for a good while. And she will have earned that rest. And that's my 2 cents for the week. Greatly appreciate y'all's time for tuning in to Chris's 2 cents. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, all the contact information will be below. Actually, same thing for the description on Spreaker as well if you're listening. So thank y'all for watching. Enjoy your week. I may still have one more episode in the tuck, but I just wanted to but I just wanted to talk Grammys with you guys. And we were able to do that in a way that was fun, informative, and that you guys can listen to at your leisure. So thank y'all for watching. So until the next time we speak, y'all be good. Oh, let me tell you about this hoodie before I sign off. In case you forgot, it's Black History Month, it's Black History Year, it's Black History Life around here. Make no mistake about it. Just wanted to get that across. So yes, thank y'all for watching. Until the next time we speak, y'all be good or be good at it. We out.